Hey everyone, Taylor Lockwood here. So I just found this incredible Iceberg meme for Horse Autopsy with Lizzie McGuire, which was one of my favorite games growing up and I think my first fandom. Maybe after Dead Ferret Dentist? I used to always be on the game's neoseeker forum, and this meme brought up a lot of really old memories and I felt compelled to make this explainer video. I do want to apologize in advance because I lost my copy of this game, and I can't find much video of it online anymore. Also, for each item, I'm going to put my confidence level on screen, which is going to be a grade from F- to A+. Lizzie's office has an equestrian staircase. If you look closely at the establishing shot at the start of the game, you'll notice that the stair steps leading up to Lizzie's office are really broad, and that's because it's an equestrian staircase which are designed for use by horses. It's a cute little detail that's probably overlooked, but it's literally the first thing you see when you start a new game, so that's probably why it's at the top. Secretariat bonus level. Once you complete the game with an A+ rating for each necropsy, you unlock a bonus stage that lets you reenact the events of the famous Secretariat racehorse necropsy. It's actually one of the most polished parts of the game in my opinion, and I remember being really giddy when I played it for the first time since I used to read about the Secretariat autopsy in books and magazines and stuff growing up. I think if you're going to play any part of this game, play this part. You can use the password unlock_all1 to access it. Missing specimen tubes. This is a glitch that happens during the tap-toe examination, where your specimen tubes are no longer in your tool list. It's easy to miss because you don't need them during that examination. Time-locked DSiWare DLC. There used to be a free download on the Nintendo eShop for the songs in the Lizzie McGuire movie that would override the game's normal music soundtrack. The DLC came with a timer that would delete the music automatically after October 1st, 2012. This was because the music licensing contract ran out on that date. There were rumors that the DLC had cursed or illegal content or something, and that's why it was deleted, but that's just not true. Snake game on autoclave. Basically, if you press and hold the program button on the autoclave in Lizzie's office for 30 seconds, the little screen starts playing a snake game you can control with the D-pad. There was a huge thread on the forums of people sharing their high scores. Some people are probably still playing the game just for that Easter egg. Chekhov's cerebromine. So Chekhov's gun is a narrative device, where a gun that's shown to the audience in the first act will be shot in the last. Something like this happens in Horse Autopsy. At the start of the game when Kate Sanders visits you, she gives you a box of chocolates that has a piece missing. That piece turns out to be the chocolate that she uses to kill Lizzie the horse in the final examination. Theobromine is the chemical in chocolate that's lethal to horses. This plot point is pretty obvious from a second playthrough, so it makes sense why it's above the iceberg. Gordo voice actor change. This one is more obscure because the voice actors aren't credited at the end of the game. The character of Gordo is voiced by a different actor instead of Adam Lamberg. I don't know if anyone has figured out who the actor is. They do a pretty good impression, but there's some lines which sound pretty off. Blessed Tuna's MLP Total Conversion mod. This was a mod that was released on the Horse Autopsy forums back in the day. The download and screenshots are all dead links now, but I remember it just replaced the textures for the horses so they resemble the cast of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. Seabiscuit password glitch. There's a glitch where typing Seabiscuit in the game's password prompt will take you to the credits. The thing about the password prompt is that there are millions of words that trigger the same thing. The official word to jump to the end credits is the word end credits, so there's no significance in Seabiscuit as a password. It just happens to be one of the many words that trigger the end credits. Bone count wrong. Whenever you start the game, Gordo's character pops up to give you a horse fact. Most of these are correct, except there's one where he says horses have 250 bones. The number's actually 205. Roman coin in hindgut. During the slow dancer examination, if you dissect the bells, you'll discover an old coin. It's actually included in the meme itself, which is lucky for me because I couldn't find a picture of it anywhere. If you look closely, you can clearly make out that it's a Roman coin. I'm not sure of the significance of this, and I'm not sure where a horse would find a Roman coin. It's not actually the cause of Slow Dancer's death anyway, but no spoilers. Rare horse box loading screen. The loading screens between each stage have a horse photograph in the background. There are 11 that it chooses from at random, but there's something wrong with the random number generator, and it causes it to skip the last image except under really rare circumstances. According to the Great Librarian on the forums, the likelihood of getting this image is 1 in 65,000. Black labeled educational copies. I'm not sure if this is true or not, but there's a rumor that some veterinary colleges have unlabeled copies of Horse Autopsy in their learning resource inventory. The rumors say the cartridges are unbranded with black labels, and have a build of the game that removed the story and Lizzie McGuire characters, presumably so it can be used for educational purposes. Tapto stage implies exsanguination. This one is just not true. So exsanguination is a more technical word for severe blood loss, and some people keep saying that the examination of Tapto's corpse implies that he dies of this. It's true that Tapto is missing a lot of blood, but the true cause of death, if these people would examine the heart properly, is acute heart failure. The reason for the missing blood is that after Tapto's heart failed, he collapsed against the stable door and the hinge punctured an artery. This is obvious from the external examination. Sorry, this one just bugs me. Stable doors NPC. This is a bit of trivia from people data mining the game. They discovered that the doors to all the stables are actually NPC entities, and not scene entities. That means the doors are technically the same kind of object as all the living characters. This is strange but not unheard of, since I believe other games do something like this. For example, Fallout 3 famously has a moving train that's actually just the NPC wearing the train model as a hat. Rip cutter input queuing. This is a speedrun tactic for the game. To use the rip cutter, you need to press and hold on the button to start it up, and that takes a few seconds. If you press your stylus on that area while the game is loading, your input is queued, and it'll be fed into the button when you tap it a second time. This causes the rip cutter to activate immediately and saves a few seconds per stage. Unwrapped horse face. I think this is the picture to the right in the meme. The textures for the horses are projected to be flat, so when you look at the texture, you can see the horse's head from all angles at once. I guess it looks pretty creepy. In-game camera always missing 13th photograph. This is a well-known glitch with the loading a save file. If you return to previous examinations to review your camera's photographs, the 13th photograph will always be unreadable. I don't know why this happens, but out of all the numbers I guess it's pretty spooky that it's the 13th. Fabric mass is Gordo's hacky sack. During the examination for the horse special bulletin, you can find a mass of fabric in their bells. Like the Roman coin, this isn't the cause of death. Some people say that it looks like Gordo's hacky sack that he plays with throughout the games and TV show. I can't find an image of this unfortunately, so I can't verify if it's true or not. Zebra texture. This is another data mining find. Apparently there's an unused zebra texture somewhere in the game files. Thankfully Jacob300 on the forums posted an image of it, so here it is. Skybox stolen from CSI game. I can't verify this one at all, but user Lands of London 55 of the Horse Autopsy forums claim that the skybox for the stables is identical to the skybox used in the game CSI Furry Forensics for the PS2. Both of these games are made by different studios, so they probably got the texture from the same source, or maybe someone was hired between the companies who brought some art with them. I think it's an interesting coincidence that these two games are both about animal autopsy, and they randomly share a texture. Soliloquy.wav. This is another data mining thing. At the end of each examination, the Lizzie McGuire cartoon character comes out to do a monologue. According to the forums, these files are stored inside of a soundbank file called soliloquy.sbnk, except for one unused clip in the game's root directory with a .wav extension. The file itself is only a couple of seconds of quiet breathing. I think this is just a developer error, but I'll let you draw your own conclusions. Living copy out of bounds / winking sprite. Basically for each horse you examine there are two entities. One is a scene entity which can be interacted with to perform the examination, and there's a second NPC entity far below the map that handles other things like playing sounds and managing animations. If you use hacks to move the camera down to the bottom of the level, you can find the model for this entity, which is a standing horse. Each stage uses the same model and entity, so they all look the same. Winking sprite most likely refers to the winking animation that the NPC entity does if you get close to it. This is probably something that developers added as a nod to people using hacks to investigate the game. Also, for some reason, the meme shows the game running on a TV screen. I don't know where they got this image. Accidental latissimus dorsi reflection jump scare. The first step to the internal examination is the reflection of the latissimus dorsi. Most operations in the game are animated, but for some reason the first operation happens instantaneously, which I guess is startling for some people. Some people say that the rip cutter sound effect can randomly play when you perform the operation, but I've never had that happen. I think it's as simple as people getting startled and hitting the rip cutter button by accident. Cover art implies Lizzie is 10 feet tall. This is a joke based on the cover art. Horses are about 5 feet tall, and Lizzie looks about twice the size of the horse. Personally, I think the horse is just far away, but who knows, I could be wrong. Equine necropsy naming controversy. So, excuse me if I get heated about this one, There was a huge thread on the forums where people were arguing between the terms horse autopsy and equine necropsy. Those terms mean the same thing, and I see little reason for people to make a fuss about which one is more technically correct. I never got what the people who were advocating that we always use equine necropsy were trying to accomplish. I think it was just another manifestation of that grammar Nazi mindset that was so prevalent back in the day. If I recall correctly, the forum thread eventually got locked and pinned to serve as a warning to anyone trying to bring up the argument again. Unfortunately, I couldn't find this thread anymore, so I think it might have been deleted at some point, which is a shame because I remember seeing a lot of funny back and forth, like people calling each other stupid. Uncracked horse engine bytecode. I'm gonna put a hold on the horse engine stuff until we get near the end, because there's a lot of stuff related to it in the meme. Hole in Miranda's model looks like a cannula. So a cannula is a window that's like cut into the side of a cow to examine their stomach. I'm not gonna post a picture because it's really gross. I can't do this one, I'm sorry. I'm gonna skip this one, sorry. Encrypted brain removal assets. Okay, so in a normal equine necropsy, the brain is removed for further examination. What's disappointing is that this operation is not included in Horse Autopsy with Lizzie McGuire. It's a real shame because there's a lot of really cool stuff you can do with post-mortem brain examination. Anyway, data miners discovered a block of unused code that contains reference to brain removal. However, apparently the code looks encrypted. Not sure what that means. The thread about this is only a couple of posts, so I'm not sure if this is real. This is really sad because I would hope that someone could implement a patch or something to add it back to the game. Disney copyright annulment. I don't know what this is referring to. There's a Disney copyright logo at the start of the game, and this point makes it sound like Disney cancelled the copyright for the game. I don't know how to verify this, so unfortunately this has to be my first F- confidence grade. Oil stained on all physical copies. Okay, this one really surprised me to read. I thought it was just my copy that had a weird black stain inside of it. Basically, behind the manual booklet inside the case, there's a black stain. Unfortunately, I couldn't find any pictures online of other cases that have this defect. I remember it reminded me of a sneaker mark on a gym floor, but it wouldn't come off. Not sure what caused it, but I'm pretty confident it's a real thing. Hay bale texture hidden lips. I had to talk to some old friends about this. Apparently there's a rumor that the middle of the texture that's used for the spiral part of a hay bale resembles human lips. Unfortunately, I couldn't find any pictures of this online, so I couldn't verify. Cheerleading squad horse correlation. This refers to a joke fan theory by forum user Kratos1986, which posits that each of the deceased horses correspond to a member of the cheerleading team in the Lizzie McGuire TV series. It was supposed to be a parody of some of the even wilder fan theories that people would come up with, but people started believing it. I personally think it falls apart because the cheerleading team appears as regular characters, but maybe it's more convincing to you. Hidden user evaluation and suitability score. This is really misleading, and I think it was just added to be creepy. When you finish an evaluation, Lizzie will grade you, and this grade is by no means hidden. However, I don't know what suitability score refers to, and I don't think it's real, but I can't be sure. Demo trailer metadata. Not sure what this means. I know there was a trailer for the demo before the game came out, but I remember it being embedded in the Nintendo Store page. I don't know how you'd get the metadata for it. Sadly, this is another F- grade for me. D23 Expo After Party Incident. D23 Expo is an official Disney fan club exposition event. These expos feature award ceremonies, first looks at new projects, exclusive merchandise, stuff like that. Maybe Horse Autopsy was shown at one of these expos before its release. I don't know what After Party is referring to. Unfortunately, this is another F-. Horse fingers and horse tools. On the publisher's website, there used to be two anywhere online. Demo Edition Spiral Tattoo. This sounds creepy, but it just refers to the fact that the demo version of Horse Autopsy has the publisher logo, spiraling thoughts, overlaid on the horse textures. The logo is on the side of the horse, so you'd see it just as you start the internal examination. I couldn't find an image, but I do remember playing the demo, and I guess it could look like a tattoo. The Herbivore Lie. I think this might be a joke. Ostensibly, horses are herbivores. I don't know what to think, because one of my friends has this story where they swear they saw a horse eat a bird. I don't know what this has to do with the game. Anyway, I'm gonna give this another F. Lost Duff Estate press release. I remember this, and yeah, it's lost. I can't find it. When Hillary Duff 2010, people swear up and down that the estate's press release included a reference to horse autopsy, but no one can find it anymore. This press release would have been published about a year after Horse Autopsy was released. It might have been reposted on the Horse Autopsy neo-wiki, but that whole wiki's gone now. Teeth larger than brain. This is an unused string of text in the game files. It was probably supposed to be one of Gordo's horse facts, since this is actually a true fact about horse anatomy. However, it's a grammatically incomplete sentence, which could be why it was cut. Speedrunning community maintains Lizzie McGuire's perfect Rotten Tomatoes score. This was an inside joke within the community, that every world record stayed off a bad Rotten Tomatoes review for another month. It's been years since anyone has broken the speedrunning record for Horse Autopsy, and the Rotten Tomatoes score is still 100%, so I think it's safe to say that the superstition was false. Horse skull model inside level geometry implies developer knowledge of Welsh paganism. I love this point. So, it was known for some time that there are hidden horse skulls within each of the game's levels. Some of them can be seen if you glitch the camera under the floor. Luckily, I found a picture of one too. What I didn't know was that hiding horse skulls inside of building foundations is a practice in Welsh paganism to ward off witchcraft. Apparently this is a part of a wider folk tradition of hiding things inside of homes, like shoes sewn under carpets. Spiraling Thoughts is based in America, but maybe they had some Welsh developers who wanted to put in an Easter egg. I don't know what this implies about the game, but it's a really interesting factoid that sent me down a bit of a rabbit hole. If you want more details about this kind of paganism, just look up horse skulls on Wikipedia. US 5984855A. This is another unused string in the game, so no one on the neoseeker forums knew what it meant, but I just Google searched it and found that it's a patent number for a magnetic blanket for horses. I have no idea what this means, and I'm kinda weirded out, so let's just move on. Corpses move while game is suspended. This is false, but has a weird kind of truth to it. When a game is suspended, no code is running, and so none of the entities can move. That's just a fact. However, the horse scene entities do have the ability to move. However, the code is unused. I think this fact was just played up to be creepy, but maybe I'm missing something. The Run Lola Run replay theory. I don't know what this means. Run Lola Run is a 1998 German film. Apparently the movie has like 3 different versions or something. I haven't actually seen it, but I know the original Lizzie McGuire concept was inspired by some cartoon portions of the movie. Unfortunately, I don't know more than this, F-. Texture loader involtuation. According to the dictionary, involtuation is defined as the use or act of making images of people, animals, etc. for witchcraft. This point seems to suggest that the texture loader in Horse Autopsy is doing some kind of magic as it loads the image. The nonsense of this statement notwithstanding, I don't think there's any proof that the texture loader is doing anything other than, like, loading textures. Clank Puppet's Datura trip report / sober mind's inability to recognize concept abnormality. I'm really excited to talk about this one. Clank Puppet is probably the most infamous user in the Horse Autopsy neoseeker forum, largely for his theories and methods of researching. According to him, he would take psychedelic drugs to discover hidden truths about the game, and in his words, finally uncover it all. These efforts culminated in his final rambling post on the forum detailing a trip he experienced while taking the drug Datura. According to my research, Datura is a toxic plant that has psychoactive effects that largely result in unpleasant experiences. His post is too long to narrate here, so I had to summarize it. If anyone's interested, I linked the full post in the description. The post begins by him describing the physical effects of taking Datura, which are apparently extreme thirst and the intense need to urinate. He describes some disturbing things that he saw, like fingers in the carpet and people in his home incessantly asking for directions. Eventually, he said he saw a great creature with wide-set eyes, horns, and no mouth walk through his wall and take his hand, leading him to his bookshelf. The creature pointed to the shelf that had his necropsy books and games, including Horse Autopsy with Lizzie McGuire. The creature said that this is one of many metastasized concept growths that have attached to our world, and it was now a lump in reality like a cyst or a pimple. The creature explained that nobody in our world could see the concept abnormality. The creature said that the concept had taken root and could not be excised, and it was weighing down the world like a stone tied to a bird, and the world would eventually fall into a large nothingness where logic couldn't go. He said that our reality had other growths like this, and it was only a matter of time until our doomed timeline would end. The creature was able to open Clankpuppet's eyes to some fundamental wrongness of necropsy that no one else could see. He learned that a horse autopsy game for kids featuring Lizzie McGuire was deplorable. But the reasons for this proved impossible to explain to, in his words, sober people. In other words, everyone other than him. Now, that was a lot, but I love it actually. I was glad to be reminded of it again. Don't get me wrong, I don't think Clankpuppet did any of the drugs he describes. In fact, I don't think he's done any drugs at all. So in my opinion, this is just a really good work of creative writing and nothing more. Horses can use symbols to communicate their preferences. This one's straight weird. This is one of Gordo's horse facts. I know that for sure because there was a running gag on the forums that every time someone made a poll, the title would be something like, "Communicate your horse preferences by voting on my poll." But during the research for this video, I googled it, and I found that it's exactly the name of a scientific study published in 2016. That's 6 years after Horse Autopsy was released. I initially assumed this was like a subtle reference to Horse Autopsy on the part of the authors, but I wanted to be sure, so I sent them an email. They said they'd never played Horse Autopsy or heard of it in their lives, so I guess it's just a coincidence. But one thing I don't get is that, did the researchers just learn this fact? I don't know a lot about scientific research, so I don't know where they get their ideas from. Maybe someone who gives grants, wanted to verify this fact from this game? I have no idea. Credits are unreadable like clocks in dreams. I think this is referring to how nobody reads credits. I wish I could prove this wrong, but nobody posted the credits online. Creepypasta identical to base game. I don't recall seeing any creepypasta for Horse Autopsy, other than Clankpuppet's writings or the edgy fan theories. I don't really get what this point is making. I think it's just some random creepy thing that the meme maker threw in. Long horse sightings. This is just another random creepy thing that was added that isn't true. Longhorse is apparently some creepypasta character that's a horse skull with an extremely long neck. It only appeared online in 2018 and there's no reference to it in the forums, so I'm saying this isn't true. BIOS imprinting. I couldn't figure out what this has to do with the game, but I saw it referenced in a post in the forums by a spam account. The full post is too long and nonsensical to read, but the relevant sentence says, "BIOS imprinting means the game will always see you." So that's very creepy, but probably equally meaningless. I think the author of this meme found it and put it in here to be creepy. Horse entity limit represents population upper bound for real horses. I think this is a reference to an offhand joke on the forums, that the horse entity limit is in the billions and could probably be used to represent every horse on Earth. For all we know, this is true, and there's a horse autopsy game running somewhere that's storing all the horses in our reality, but who can say for sure? Uncracked horse engine bytecode. Horse engine requires sacrifice. Horse engine is a global equine sci-hog. So, it's time to talk about horse engine. I think I left the most inexplicable thing for last. These refer to a series of threads by Jacob300 about a block of garbled code that was yet to be cracked by the data mining community. He claims that this code, which he calls the horse engine, represents virtual machine code, which is interpreted by the main horse autopsy program when the game is idling. For whatever reason, Jacob300 went really deep into speculating what this code is and does. His theories spiraled into ideas of ritual sacrifice to make new horses, and that the horse engine was intended to strengthen the power of horses worldwide. I have no idea how a video game is supposed to do all that. I posted a link to the relevant thread if you want to read through it. Honestly, I just find it really funny how extreme their ideas get. There's actually one more thing which is cut off at the end of the meme. I think it says nobody remembers this game. It certainly feels like it sometimes. It's so hard to find information about it online these days. It feels like there's only a matter of time until it's completely erased. It feels like I'm just gonna wake up someday and no one will have heard of this game at all. Like it's been wiped from reality. And no one will remember it but me. I don't know what to do about it when that happens. What do you do when everyone just keeps forgetting? Like, share, and subscribe.